So I'm going to talk about problem number 16 in your homework and help you through one example of simplifying this number. So we have I to the 20th times the square root of negative 196. So the first thing we need to check is, what is our index? Is it even or odd? If it's odd, we're not going to have an imaginary number because we can have odd roots of negative numbers. But since we have an even, or the square root, we know that we're going to have an imaginary number. So we can first do this. We can rewrite the radical as negative 1 times 196, and we can even separate that out. So we have I to the 20th times the square root of negative 1 times, and 196 breaks down into 7 times 7 times 2 times 2. So if we simplify that even further, we have I to the 20th times the square root of negative 1 times the square root of 7 squared times the square root of 2. Now, we know, and we learned in class today, that the square root of negative 1 is I. And we know that these square root and squares cancel out, so the square root of 7 squared is 7, and the square root of 2 squared is 2. So we get I to the 20th times I times 7 times 4. Well, let's do the easy part first. We know 7 times 4 is 28. So now we're left with I to the 20th times I. So we learned in our exponent property rules that when we have a like base and we're taking the product, or we're multiplying them, we want to add those exponents. So we get 20 plus 1, or I to the 21st. And we have 28 times I to the 21st. Now we need to simplify because we don't want I to a power higher than 1. So what we do is we divide that 21 by 4, and we find the remainder is 1. So if the remainder is 1 when we divide by 4, we can really rewrite that as 28 times I to the first. Well, I to the first, we know something to the first power is 1, but if we follow our sort of wheel where the remainder of 0, when we divide by 4, the remainder of 0 is here. The remainder of 1 when we divide by 4 is here, or I. The remainder of 2 when we divide by 4 is negative 1. And the remainder of 3 when we divide by 4 is negative I. And this is equal to I to the 0th power, I to the first power, I to the second power, and I to the third power. So I to the first power would be right here, which is I. So we can simplify that to 28I. So this whole thing just simplified to 28I.